Go for it.
Welcome once again, fans for Geeks of the Web. This is Shield Maiden SA. I'm here at Nightwatch Games with this lovely gentleman here named Justin. Now, you may ask, what are we doing at a gaming shop? Well, you know that we're all about games. Tabletop, video games, you name it. And we just took a really great class on how to paint a miniature. Because as we all know, that, you want to play tabletop?
Wrong way. We'll try to toss to her.
You've got miniatures. And you don't just want your whole field to be covered with white or silver miniatures. You want it to have a little pizzazz. You want it to have some personality. You want it to reflect your gaming environment. So, hey, why not paint them? And for a lot of people, it's kind of a daunting task because, well, it says it in the name. Miniature. So, this is something that... How often are you teaching the classes out here at Nightwatch?
Well, this is the first one I've done. I might do more. It's really up to Brenda and Pork whether or not they're going to use the time and the space for it in that respect.
But it's definitely something that, not a lot of people necessarily teach people, and I don't know whether it's... we had a pretty good turnout, so it seems like people are definitely interested. What was it that got you started painting miniatures?
Well, I started actually playing miniatures games back in 2000. So I've had a lot of time to really kind of think about it. And for me, it's about the experience of the other person. That's really why I paint. Because I don't always enjoy painting, I'll be honest. There are times when it's just like when I'm painting my World War II figures. Sometimes it's just, I have to paint gray again. Or, I have to paint all these guns the same color. It can be a bit dull at times. But then I remember, hey, I'm playing for somebody else's enjoyment too. And so that encourages me to keep going and to finish my projects.
And how was it that you learned all the different techniques for layering the color, for just exactly getting all that right shading? Where did you learn all that from?
Well, there's actually a lot of information on the internet for some of that. Some of it is practice. Also, I was in a painting league, which is an escalation league in Warhammer. So what an escalation league is you start out at a low points level, so you have a smaller amount of figures to paint and to get ready for. And so everybody was trying to get that core group ready for their first week. And then as the league progresses, the armies get bigger, and so you're more motivated to keep painting and keep up with the league. And so that helped me really refine some of the things I was already doing.
Now, you did mention Warhammer. I've seen it. It's beautiful. Is it something that they require usually when you're playing, is to have all your miniatures painted?
It's not required, but it definitely affects the enjoyment of the other player. Because sure, if your minis are all gray or all primed, they look cohesive on the battlefield, but they look very boring on the battlefield. That's really what it's about. You want to have a cinematic game with Warhammer, especially because the theme of the game is to do as much crazy stuff as possible. And when you're doing crazy stuff, you need everything. Looks is everything with crazy stuff. Just ask Michael Bay.
Destroyer of childhood.
Exactly. So.
Now, if someone was new to this, maybe they're just starting to get into tabletops, whether it's young, old, games are for everybody.
Yeah.
What would you suggest they maybe pick up to kind of get started with painting their own miniatures?
Probably I would go with just a generic bag of army men, something super cheap. That way you can practice the techniques without having to worry about, okay, am I going to put this on the table? And then you always want to do the arms test, the arms length test. This is a test that I'm basically codifying. People have been doing it for years. I'm just calling it something. So it's does the mini look okay when I stretch my arm out and look at it? That's it. So that's the arms length test. And what that does is that says, okay, maybe it doesn't look great when I'm looking up here, but it looks okay when I've got it on the table. And that's really what people care about.
Do you have a preference over tabletop games? Do you have a favorite or a favorite type of miniature you like to paint?
I prefer elves because I just like elves. They tend to be a little bit more flowing and more brightly colored, and so it kind of draws my attention, I guess. As far as games, my favorite game is still Bolt Action, for sure. It's similar to 40K, but it's also different. So one of the major differences is everyone is a human in Bolt Action. So everybody has the same stat line. So there's a whole lot less overhead when you're playing that game.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. Now, what kind of encouragement would you give to people who maybe they painted a miniature once and it didn't really pass the arm's length test? What would you kind of give them to say, hey, if you want to do this, keep pursuing that dream?
Well, I would say to look online and get more information because it's out there. One of the things that I found that's really great is called Vallejo Triads. So what that is someone has worked out which 3 colors go best together as a shade, a middle tone, and a highlight for the entire Vallejo range. And they put that information online. So you can go out and find it. It's on a Google Drive. It's as a PDF. So that's one place to look. Chances are good that person probably put their paint on too thick or got their primer too thick, and that's more of a come ask somebody. There's a lot of people who were completely willing to say, hey, you should be doing it like this. As long as they ask. A lot of us don't want to just volunteer that information because we kind of feel like it might put somebody down, and so we don't want to do that. So we tend to have that information, but we don't share it as much. So,
all right. Well, thank you so very much. We'll definitely be keeping an eye out for more painting classes because this was a whole lot of fun today.
Okay.
Like we said, we came out and signed up for the class. I wanted to paint miniatures, but I was afraid because they're small, they're tiny.
So, what did you feel like you learned?
I actually learned a lot because I've never painted a miniature before.
Okay.
So for me, it was like, well, what do you mean I can't just color it like a crayon with a coloring book?
Oh, yeah.
So about the fact that you need to put multiple layers of shading on there. I knew nothing about washes. I'm like, oh, I can put a wash on this? I don't have to try and find the right color. This is awesome. I understand now. I am empowered. But yeah, definitely looking forward to taking some more classes out here and, making each one a little bit better as we go along. Because we just started a D&D campaign. We're about to start a Tefra campaign. It should be a lot of fun. Okay. So, thank you. Look forward to seeing you.
You're welcome.
Other one. So we can always get that.
Yeah, and this is, of course, what we did today. Keep an eye out for more photos. We can show you kind of where we went from start to finish with this. Because, like we said, we each did our own separate miniatures, so they all look a little bit different. And that's kind of the fun thing is, the more you paint, it's going to have a little bit of your own personality in there.
And that's especially true when you start adding more, when it's your minis. Like, this was kind of our minis. When it's your minis, you get to pick the colors. And so you kind of say, okay, well, I like this. I like the way green looks on this mini. So you just paint it green, so... Or you might adhere to a theme. Like with my Germans, I have 3 different themes for my German Bolt Action Army. I have Fallschirmjäger, which is a camo pattern, and then I have my Early War, and they're more German gray color, and then I have some Late War stuff. I have some DAK, which is Africa Corps, so they all look khaki. So, yeah.
Makes sense. So, all of our fans at Geeks of the Web, don't forget to look at our YouTube page, follow us on Facebook. We should have some new games coming up on Twitch, so keep an eye out for that. And like I said, we're always going to make sure that we put out some fun, great content for you guys. So hey, let us know what you want to see, because really, that's why we do this. We do this for you guys.